Welcome. I'm Carl Frederick, and I will be interviewing individuals for Kenosha Voices, an oral history project of the Kenosha County Historical Society in conjunction with Kenosha Community Media. I have worked in newspapers for more than 40 years as an editor and a reporter. 38 and a half of those years were at the Kenosha News. I am also a member of the Kenosha County Historical Society Board. We hope you enjoy these programs. I'm speaking with Julie Stover, former owner of Smokey Stover's Country Club. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So how did you get into the tavern business?
My husband was a musician, and it was always his dream to have his own band in his own place. And so that's what got us into the bar.
Okay, so are either of you from Kenosha originally?
No.
Okay.
No.
How did you come to Kenosha?
I moved down here in 1972, and I built my house down here. I moved from Milwaukee. I'm originally from Upper Michigan. My husband was from Kansas, and he had a gas station in Skokie, Illinois. And then he was a musician, and he played most of Great Lakes and all the country bars around Kenosha he played in.
Okay, and your tavern was called what?
Smokey Stover's Country Club.
Okay, Smokey is your husband's
My husband,
nickname?
that was his nickname. His real name was Ralph.
Okay.
Nobody ever called him Ralph. He never even went by Ralph.
Why did you choose Country Club as the name instead of tavern or bar?
Because I didn't want a neighborhood bar. I wanted something where I could have my family life and have dinner together. And we wanted something where people could come and enjoy the music and dance. And so that's why we went with the Country Club.
Okay. And where was the Country Club located?
It was on H, and back then it was 43, and then it went to 142, and now it's Highway S.
Okay. And what kind of music did your husband's band play?
Country, and a little bit of rock and roll in there too. I remember one Halloween party we had, and they did costumes, and the band dressed up as country, they called themselves Country Kiss, and they dressed up as Kiss.
Okay, and how did the two of you meet?
We met at Club Highview, and I was the waitress there, and he was playing in the band there.
Okay, and then how did that progress? I mean, he talked to you, you talked to him?
He had asked me about what song I wanted to request, and I had requested, I remember, Green, Green Grass of Home.
Okay. And then when did you marry?
We married in June of '75.
And you opened the bar?
We got the bar in '74. We started off with a lease, and then we bought it from them.
Okay, so what year
on a
did you
land
actually,
contract.
year did you actually then take ownership of?
In '75.
75.
Mhm.
And how long did you operate the country club?
I was there until '87, and then I sold it, but I stayed in the apartment for 2 years to help with the transition.
Okay. Now, your husband wanted a place for his band to play.
Mm-hmm.
Did either of you know anything about the business?
I knew a little bit about it because my parents had a neighborhood bar in Milwaukee at one time, and I was a cocktail waitress on and off as a part-time job. So we knew a little bit of it, but not a whole lot. We did get, after we bought it, a lot of help from other bar owners that used to come in and give us a few tips here and there, and I learned a lot from them.
Okay, so being a country club instead of a bar tavern, you said you wanted a family life where you could have dinner at night. What time did you open up?
We opened at 8 o'clock at night, and we were open in the beginning. We were open 4 nights a week, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we had bands all 4 nights.
Originally, was your husband's band the only band that performed, or?
At that time, on usually Friday and Saturday, he had the same guys, and then Wednesdays and Sundays, sometimes he would have a different bass player or a different lead player, but they would be on those nights.
Okay.
So he kind of had like 2 bands almost.
Okay. So while he played the music, what were your responsibilities?
I took care of the bar and the waitresses and the bartenders and the bouncing, and
Who checked IDs?
usually my bartenders and waitresses we'd alternate, switching, working the door or checking IDs.
Did you ever think of opening earlier than 8 o'clock?
Not in the beginning, we didn't. Towards the end, we did, because then I went into pool leagues and that. But in the beginning, we didn't have any game machines at all. There was no pool tables, there was no game machines, nothing. It was just music, that was it.
So describe for me, if you can, what the inside of the country club looked like.
Like a big hall with a bunch of tables and chairs and a bar. I think the stools, there was like 33 bar stools.
Okay, and the dance floor was?
And the dance floor was big, and then it had the stage. And when we got it, there was no railing around the stage. So my dad and Smoke, they built the railing around the stage, so that, you know, people couldn't bang into the musicians and their equipment and stuff.
Okay, and then you closed the normal time that anybody would normally close by ordinance? And
Right, yeah.
Did you ever open up before 8 o'clock?
Not unless there was something special, like somebody wanted to have a wedding. Sometimes then we would open up earlier for that. Or if somebody wanted to have an appreciation for their customers or something, then we would open up for that. The mobile oil company used to have it for the farmers, and then I would open up at noon, and then they would come in for that.
Okay, and what did you offer for food, or did you not really have?
We not really had food. We had a popcorn machine that we could make popcorn with. And then sometimes Wednesday nights, we would put peanuts out. We did have a pizza machine for a while, but, you know, that was about it.
So basically, your customers came in for music and dancing?
Music and dancing,
Okay. And how big, what was the capacity of the building?
I would say we could have held about 300 people.
Okay. And you were open 4 nights a week when you started, and did that continue pretty much until the end, or did you expand to 6, 5?
We expanded to 6 nights. Once we started with pool leagues, and then we brought in a few machines and pool table, and we went in with some pool leagues, and then I would open up Tuesday, and then Wednesday we had dropped music by then. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday would be just no music. Well, the bar was open, and we had the pool leagues.
So your
and that.
sponsored pool league, or would you have bowling?
We had
softball?
bowling teams, we had baseball teams, we had men's, we had women's, and we had each year in our bowling league, they would need another team, so I would put another team together, and I think we ended up with Smokey's 4 teams on that league. So we used to have a good time. Smokey's playing 1, Smokey's playing 2. And
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your clientele. Who were the type of people who came to your
they
country
were 18 to 80 in blue jeans to long dresses. They were a mix of everything, and they all got along fine. And it was a great people. I still, to this day, keep in contact with some of them, and I'm still friends with some of them.
Okay. Did you have any specific rules or restrictions or anything?
Oh,
in the bar?
yes. We were very strict. In the beginning, it was no tank tops. And how we got away from that, I don't remember. But in the beginning, you had to have a shirt on. You couldn't come in with a tank top if you were a guy. We did relax that after a while. But if you got thrown out because you were causing some problems or something, you didn't get another chance to come back in. You had the one chance, and that was it. And
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I had one gentleman that I threw out that had caused some problems, and he would send me flowers, and it was a year before I let him come back in. I said, no, you can't behave yourself, you're not coming in.
What was his infraction?
I think he spit on the floor that day. And but most of my waitresses and my bartenders would let me know if they would hear an argument starting or something, and then I would go over and put a kibosh to it right away and stop it, and either ask them to leave, or if they wanted to stay and enjoy it, they were welcome to stay, but knock it off.
And when you did not allow tank tops for men, did they just turn around and leave?
No, most of them would put a shirt on, and they'd stay because they
What?
wanted to come in.
So they brought an extra shirt?
No, we had shirts hanging there, and smokes and that there, and that we had picked up, and they would just put the shirt on, and when they left, they would hang it back up.
Okay, so you said from the beginning, or in the beginning, you opened the 4 nights a week.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like, what, 1975 until?
I would say probably 75 to 80.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we stopped the music on Wednesday, and we only had the music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then that's when we were open.
Okay, when did you make some of these more serious changes to your hours or whatever?
I'm not sure when we did them all, but I think Wednesday night just started getting slow, so we decided not to have the music on Wednesday nights anymore.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about, you said it was fun with the league teams and staff and all that. Can you describe any of the things that you did?
As far as our teams and that?
Teams and staff or getting together, did
Oh,
you have
yeah,
a party?
we have, at the end of the year, we would have the men against the women's baseball. We'd have a party. And it was always the the Sunday after Labor Day. We would rent out a park, and I would bring a half barrel of beer, and everybody bring their own meat and a dish to pass, and we would have the girls against the guys, and we would have to kind of make it even because, I mean, the guys, so they had to bat wrong-handed, or they had to bat running gunny sacks, or one year they had to use pots and pans for gloves. Another year they had to use we bought a bunch of bras and they had to either wear them or use them as gloves. And so the guys took their shirts off and put the bras on. And then one year I was the catcher, and I think the umpire caught more balls than I did. And so they brought me a hockey suit to put on to catch the ball with. But we would get together and we would go to Six Flags, a whole bunch of us, and it was like a huge family. And even Thanksgiving, I would make like 3 turkeys, and if somebody didn't have a place to go, we would have dinner on the dance floor. I'd set up a whole bunch of tables, and a lot of sailors. We used to get a lot of sailors that came up. And a lot of times we'd take the sailors back. They'd bring a taxi cab up, and we'd drive them back at night after we closed. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned being strict, and one of your customers was banned for a year before they were allowed back in. Can you recall any other kinds of circumstances that had to be dealt with? You said you were the bouncer.
I was the bouncer, yes. And a lot of times I got a little nervous, but when I could look over my shoulder, and we had a lot of off-duty police officers that used to come in, and some of them were musicians, and farmers and truck drivers. We had a lot of truck drivers and that. And they always let me would handle it. And I knew if I hit the floor, they had them. And so I had a waitress one time tell me that there was some sailors that came in and they were causing some fights down in Illinois or something the night before. So I grabbed a drink and I walked over to their table and I sat down and I said, I hear you guys like to have a fight. And they kind of looked at me a little surprised. And I said, you're welcome here to listen to the music and have a good time. But I said, if you're looking for a fight, first you take me on, and then the place is yours. I never had any more trouble with them the rest of the time. They used to come in and help me decorate at Christmas time, and they were great. They turned out to be a nice bunch of fellas that came in.
Okay. Were there any other strict rules that you
no.
remember?
I didn't like swearing. If I heard somebody swear, I used to tell them, hey, we don't do that in here. And I never, another one of my pet peeves was guys coming in and thinking that my waitresses was their, and I went, these people are here for a job. They're here to work. They're raising either a family or supporting themselves. This is a job to them. They're not here for you to come and grab them and whatever you want. And if that happened, you got thrown out because they were here to do a job, and they weren't here for you to come over and grab. And so I was very strict on that too.
Was there ever any fundraising that you took any part in?
Yes, we started, the bands always lotted throughout the area in Illinois. They would always have like jam sessions. And Smoke wanted to have one too, but he wanted to have a reason for it. And my dad had come down with cancer the year before. So we started Country versus Cancer. And people would donate blankets and Afghans and all kinds of stuff. Signs, the beer distributors, the liquors, everybody, they would donate stuff for the raffle. We had an auctioneer, and he was a friend of ours, and he would come in and he would auction the stuff off. I could have not done it by myself if it wasn't for my customers helping me and selling tickets and putting out flyers. And people would donate their time to bartend, to waitress. We would turn bands away because we had so many bands that wanted to play. We even had an Elvis impersonator one year. We would have a dunk tank. And I even got in the dunk tank. And then the bar would open up because they'd all want to drown me. But, and then a couple times we did sell food too. We would have brats and hot dogs and that. And all the proceeds went to cancer. And we collected thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars through the years. Because I think we started that in probably 79, if I remember right. And I did it all the way up until I sold the place. I kept doing it.
And you said that initially you managed the staff, the bartenders, the waitresses. Did you and your husband take care of the books?
Right. We did all the cleaning, the scrubbing of the floors, the vacuuming of the ceiling, because it was like a material up in the ceiling, across the ceiling. It used to be the old coffin before we bought it. And so the inside kind of, I guess, resembled a coffin or something. And so we had, but we did all our own work, yeah. We did the scrubbing and filling the coolers, and the kids helped. They would help sweep the floors and mop and fill the coolers and empty the garbage, and yeah, we did it all.
And when you had your cancer fundraisers, did you have enough room for everybody? I mean, there's 300 people capacity?
It was pretty packed. It was pretty packed. I remember one year it was shoulder to shoulder, and there was a lot of people there.
Where did they all park?
They were parked all over, wherever they could park. There used to be, it was a Wonder Bread wholesale center, I think years ago, across the street. And they would park in that parking lot. There was on H, on 142, they would park all over. And then, as we could get them into the parking lot, we kept moving them back into the parking lot. But even over at the bar across the street, Pagan Heroes, they'd park over there too. So they were parked all over the place.
And were you normally full on music nights?
On Fridays and Saturdays, if you weren't there by 10 o'clock, we had like an upstairs that had tables in it. And if you weren't there by 10 o'clock, you didn't get a table downstairs. You had to go upstairs. And then as people would leave downstairs, then we would bring them down. And yeah, it was a very popular place. And people felt safe coming in there, even women by themselves. They would come in, and because we'd walk them to their car, and we made sure everybody was safe.
Did you ever close the bar for vacation?
We closed one year on a Saturday and Friday and Saturday because Christmas fell on, and Christmas Eve fell on Friday and Saturday. That's the only time. Any other time, if we went on vacation, my mother and dad would come down and they'd take care of the bar for us, well, and with the bartenders, but they would open it up for us.
Okay. So when you sold the bar, did Did you retire?
No,
Oh.
I did not. I got a job, and I was driving semi for a while. And I did that for a couple of years. And then I started working in an office and managing an office.
Okay.
And then I went to customer care
Yeah.
and took
Okay.
orders.
What kind of vacations did you and your family take?
We did a lot of camping. We had a mini motorhome, and we did a lot of snowmobiling. We would take the kids during their winter vacation between Christmas and New Year's, and we would go up snowmobiling. We'd always spend Christmas in the motorhome. And then Smoke and I would go up with friends, and we'd snowmobile too. In summertime, we'd go to Nashville for the country shows. So we would go on about 4 trips, 5 trips a year, some with the kids and some without. But yeah,
And summers?
Summers we had a boat. We kept out on Silver Lake, and we would go out there on Monday, and we'd stay out there and camp out at Silver Lake for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and come back and open the bar Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. So you made a living opening as few nights as you did over the years and expanding and selling the bar. And is there any regrets that you have?
No, there's no regrets because I've got all the memories from when my husband was alive and the things we did and the places we went. So I have a lot of that.
And do you miss not having a country club or?
I don't miss the work and the worry. I miss the people. I missed, but I still see some of them. I'll meet some of them for breakfast, or we'll meet for lunch. So I still keep in touch with some of them. Some I've moved out of state. But yeah, there's quite a few I still keep in touch with. So.
Thank you for speaking with me today.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a pleasure.